Hey, teammates, welcome back to Bro, I Know Sports. I'm your host, Chelsea, and welcome to my first episode. I'm so excited to have you guys here on this journey with me as I start my sports podcast. I will be covering all sports, and this is just an exciting journey that I'm glad to have you on. So let's just go ahead and get started with this episode. I'm going to go ahead and start off with football. I do have my outline here. So we're going to discuss the NFL. So right now, I am catching you all in playoff season. It is playoff season. So we do have the brackets ready. They are available to show. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So, for the ones who don't know, because I do have to break it down for people who are not familiar with football. So excuse me for the ones that do know, but just give me a couple of minutes to explain um, the brackets and playoffs and things like that for people who are just not knowledgeable in that area. So right now it is playoff season, which means all of the good teams or kind of good teams, they are now in the playoff. I'm thinking about how I want to explain this. And you guys, this is what my podcast is about. I am not going to be all clean cut. This is new for me. So I do want to make this disclaimer. As I go on, there may be times that I may mess up, and that's gonna be okay? Because this is a podcast and this is new for me. So don't judge me. Give me a little bit of grace. So back to what I was saying. So basically we're in playoff season. We have a bracket that basically outlines all of the teams that are possibly going to go to the Super Bowl. So, for the ones who don't understand the brackets, I'm going to go ahead and explain it. So, you have two conferences. You have the AFC and the NFC. And in those two conferences, there are four divisions: North, South, East, West. There are four teams that are assigned to each division. So, that makes a total of 32 teams. Okay. So on the NFC side, I'm going to go ahead and start with the NFC side. The best team this year with the best record was the Seattle Seahawks. They have already clinched the number one spot. So they have a bye week right now. So they've already clinched their spot as number one. So they have a bye week and they are going to get home field advantage every time they play their opponent because they had the best record. Now, in the AFC, the best team who clinched the number one spot is the Denver Broncos. Now, again, Denver Broncos, they have clinched the number one spot. They have a bye week. They are going to get home field advantage every time they play their opponent. Now, I'm going to go back to the NFC and I'm going to stay here to let you guys know the different opponents that each team is going to play. So right now, after the Seattle Seahawks, the number 2 seed in the NFC is the Chicago Bears, okay? The Chicago Bears are going to be matched up with the Green Bay Packers, which is the 7th seed. Now, how the playoff brackets work is the team that has the best record usually plays the team who has the essentially the worst record in the playoff bracket. They don't have the worst record in the conference, like a 2-13 or anything like that. They just have the worst record out of all the other teams that has made it to the playoffs. Okay. The Philadelphia Eagles is ranked number 3. They're going to be playing the San Francisco 49ers, who are ranked number 6. And the Carolina Panthers, who are ranked number 4, are going to be playing the Los Angeles Rams. So I am going to go ahead and give you all my picks on who I think is going to advance to the next round of the playoffs. and then I'll move on to the AFC. Out of the Carolina Panthers, who's ranked number 4, and the Los Angeles Rams, who is ranked number 5, I am going to go with the Los Angeles Rams, okay? I know about the Carolina Panthers. They're in my home team division, which is the Atlanta Falcons. And granted, they have been doing good this year, but I just do not see them beating the Los Angeles Rams. I just don't see it. Now, I could be wrong. That's another thing when it comes to playoff season. Anything is possible. Anything can happen. The worst team can beat a good team, and it could surprise all of us. So this is just my picks. You know, some of you all may disagree with me. Some of you guys may agree with me, and that's fine. But I am going to choose the Los Angeles Rams, okay? Moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles, who's ranked number 3, and the San Francisco 49ers, who's ranked number 6. Now, I have my picks, but I'm debating if I actually want to go with that pick, and I'm going to tell you why. I chose the 49ers, and I chose the 49ers because the Eagles have been a little shaky this season. Jalen Hurts, not sure what's been going on with him in the team, but it seems like it's kind of a disconnect there. Mind you, they just won the Super Bowl last year, so you would think that this is like, a great caliber team. They just came off of a Super Bowl win, and they're ready to run it back. It hasn't been that, okay? They've been losing a couple of games. They don't have a horrible record, but a Super Bowl team, you just would expect a little bit more from them. San Francisco 49ers, they are at the number 6 seed, but I think I just have a little bit more hope um, of them winning than I do the Eagles. And I could be eating my words. The Eagles may come back or they may win that game. I don't know. I am kind of split. I am 50-50. So let's just say I'm going to do half Eagles, half 49ers. Okay. Moving on. The number 2 seed Chicago Bears is going to be playing against the number 7 seed Green Bay Packers. My pick that I chose is the Chicago Bears. Now, Chicago, they've been balling, okay? They've been winning games. They've been going up against great teams, and they have been proving themselves. And Chicago and Green Bay, this is a huge rivalry. So both of these teams got something to prove. But lately, Chicago been proving themselves, okay? Chicago has been proving themselves, and I am going to have to back them up and choose them for that matchup. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the AFC. And again, just as a reminder, Denver Broncos, they had the best record out of this conference, so they have already clinched the number 1 seed. Now, the matchups. We have the number 2 seed, which is the New England Patriots, versus the number 7 seed, the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay? And out of those teams, I did choose the Patriots. Patriots have really outdone themselves this season. And I was kind of skeptical about the Patriots after, Tom Brady left. They did have like a little fall off season after he left and went to the Bucks. And he is retired, for those who don't know. He's no longer in the NFL. But if you don't know, Tom Brady was like the face of the New England Patriots, and that was a winning team for all of the years that he was on that squad as the quarterback. So, seeing him leave, I think people just kind of thought like, oh, the Patriots are going to fall off, in which they did for a couple of seasons. But this season, they've been playing. So I did choose them over the Los Angeles Chargers. The number 3 seed is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to be going up against the number 6 seed, which is the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars have surprised a lot of us this season. They have a great record, okay? They've been balling out as well. Trevor Lawrence, he is the quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's been proving himself. He's turned around that team. And so I just don't know if I have that much hope in them to go up against Josh Allen and the Bills, okay? Josh Allen is a MVP and he knows ball. And when it comes to these type of games, playoff games, Josh Allen is going to show up and he's going to do what needs to be done to get the win. And I just don't see him falling short against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's why I chose the Bills over the number 3 seed, Jacksonville. Now, the last game is going to be Pittsburgh, which is, they are ranked number 4. They're going to go up against the number 5th seed, which is the Houston Texans. I did choose the Steelers out of this game, and why? I can't even tell you why. I just think they're going to win. I don't know. I just really, I mean, they could be on the same level as far as like winning, but I don't know. I really don't know about that game. Seriously, that's just a game that I probably just need to watch, and whoever wins, it's just like, okay, they won. Moving on. But I'm still just gonna go with the Steelers because the game that they just had against the Ravens, which we'll get into in just a second, Aaron Rodgers, he if you don't know Aaron Rodgers, that's a bad man, okay? And so he's been in positions like this because he's a very seasoned quarterback. And when it comes to playoffs, Aaron Rodgers knows what to do. He knows what plays to call, and he's going to get the job done every time. And I don't see him falling short to the Texans. So, yeah. Steelers is my choice, but again, that game could go either way. So those are my picks for the playoffs, the first round of the playoffs. And next week, I'll let you know if my picks were the winners or if I did a horrible job and they lost. And then we'll get into the second round of the playoffs, okay? Let's get into week 18 season-ending games that determine playoffs hopes, okay? So week 18, the first game I'm going to talk about, let me just go ahead and talk about the Falcons and the Saints, okay? So the Falcons and the Saints, if you don't know, I am a Falcons fan. I was born here in Georgia, so by default, I have just been born and raised to love the Falcons. It is hard being a Falcon fan because, as you know, sometimes they do good, sometimes they just embarrass us. And this season was kind of just that. They were kind of embarrassing, and then they kind of like showed up and surprised many of us. So the reason I'm talking about the Falcons versus Saints game is because this game was a factor between our division, which includes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers, along with the New Orleans Saints, okay? So the New Orleans Saints, they had the worst record in our division. They were never going to go to the playoffs, okay? So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers needed the New Orleans Saints to win against the Falcons in order to advance to the playoffs. And the Carolina Panthers needed the Atlanta Falcons to win to advance to the playoffs. So Baker Mayfield was sitting back watching this game on his toes, because I don't know why he maybe thought that the Saints would beat us at home. I mean, not that it's a far stretch because the Saints have beaten us here at home before, but not with this team. Our team, we have a lot of great players, key players. Yeah, we end up winning that game. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playoff hopes was ruined. They are going to be going to Cancun. And if you don't know the saying Cancun, that's what all the players say. They go to vacation after their playoff dreams are done and their season has ended. We always just say that, they're going to Cancun because, they're going to go relax. They're going to go hang out with their wives, their girlfriends, their families, and be at home while the other players and teams are going to be fighting for that spot to get to the Super Bowl. So with us winning, Tampa Bay is not going to be advancing to the playoffs, and the Carolina Panthers did advance to the playoffs. And like I stated, the Carolina Panthers was ranked number 4 out of our conference. So that was actually a good game. I did go to the game, hence why I'm wearing my red today. Go Falcons. And we ended our season this year with an 89 record, same as last year. But I just feel like we will get better. We have some phenomenal players. We have good players. And I, I took a pause because I wanted to say coaches, but yeah, we'll talk about that too. We'll talk about that. The second game that I want to talk about, um, that was a factor for both teams to win, to determine their playoff dreams, was the Steelers versus the Ravens. Okay. So the Steelers versus the Ravens, this is a rivalry. They end up playing last Sunday. And I'm just gonna yap a little bit about this. So after I got home from the Falcons game, I got home probably right at like 7:30, just enough to like take my makeup off and catch my Sunday Bravo shows. Okay, I'm still a girly girl, so I do watch my Real Housewives and my Married to Medicine, and of course I know Sunday football is coming on, but Sunday night football, I just feel like you don't have to watch the entire game. It's just like that fourth quarter matters the most, okay? Fourth quarter matters the most. So after I washed my makeup off, I got comfortable, made me something to eat, watched my shows back to back, and then I tuned into the game. And sure enough, it was fourth quarter. So when I tuned in, the Ravens was up just a little over the Steelers. And then Aaron Rodgers, which I said that's a bad man. Don't play with Aaron Rodgers. He's very, very seasoned. He knows how to get that ball down the field. He ends up throwing a bullet down the field, and the defender on the Ravens, he ends up slipping, so he wasn't proper. He wasn't able to properly defend um, the player from the Steelers, and they end up getting a touchdown. This touchdown puts the Steelers up, and now the Steelers are going to go kick a field goal for the extra points. They end up missing the field goal, okay? They end up missing the field goal. So this gives Ravens a chance to just get down the field, kick a field goal, and win the game. So with just a few seconds, maybe like a minute left on the clock, Lamar Jackson, he gets the ball. He then throws a bullet down the field. They get in field goal range. I think they run just about maybe one more play, and then they let the clock run down to 2 seconds. They bring out their kicker, which is Tyler Loop. All he has to do is kick the field goal, and the Ravens advance to the playoffs. Me and I think maybe everyone else around the world just knew that this kick was going to be good. It was going to go in. The Ravens were going to celebrate going to the playoffs. But no, it did not happen like that. Yeah, that was a wild ending to that game, which was a good game. The Steelers, they advanced to the playoffs, and they clinched the number 4th seed in the AFC conference, and they will be going up against the Houston Texans. Okay. Speaking of that game, I might as well just go into this segment, and this segment is called Run That Playback. This is a segment where I'm just going to show you highlights of games. It is a huge topic highlight. It is a trending highlight. And it is just the game that I was just speaking on, the Steelers versus the Ravens. And this is the highlight.
The final play of the regular season for the final spot in the playoffs. Tyler Luke from 44. Snap good. Hold it. The kick is no good. It is wide right. And the Steelers are the champions of the North.
All right. So as you can see, that was crazy. It was wild. That is the run that playback highlight of this episode. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully those type of plays and highlights won't make it to the playoffs, because nobody wants to experience that as players or as fans. Moving on to my next topic, I do want to go ahead and talk about the firing of head coaches. There have been a lot of firing of head coaches across the league. After the season ended, these owners, they were cutting these head coaches off. You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. Done. Out of here. Okay. We just got done talking about the Baltimore Ravens, so why not talk about them some more? And so, yes, their head coach, John Harbaugh, is no longer the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. He was released after 18 seasons. Okay. They had a 8-9 record this season, and they did not make it to the playoffs. As we just stated, they lost to the Steelers in hopes of their playoff dreams. So that probably was a deciding factor as to why the Ravens decided to let him go. It's very unfortunate because, again, he has been there 18 seasons, and he did have a winning record in 2024 when he took them to the AFC North title with a 12-5 record. So it's kind of unfortunate, but not so much, because he is going to land a job with all of the other teams that we're going to discuss firing head coaches. He's going to be a top contender, and he will land a job. Okay. He's not going to be unemployed for too long. He's a great coach. I just think that the Ravens maybe want to move in a different direction. And sometimes it's okay to do that. If you see something is just not working out, it's okay to be like, we did our time with you. We appreciate you. We appreciate what you did for this organization, but we want to go a different route and just see what else is out there to maybe possibly get further than where you took us. So getting fired is not always a bad thing, especially when you know you are a good coach and you'll be able to land a job with another team. Moving on to my team, which is the Falcons. Okay. Arthur Blank, baby, he cleared house. Okay. He got everybody up out of there. The head coach, the GM, the CEO. It's so many people to name, but I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the head coach and the GM. So Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot. And I may be pronouncing this name wrong, but I think it's Fontenot. Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris, they were given the boot. Okay. As soon as the Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints game was over, they were given the boots. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to wait until Monday to make a statement. I'm talking about as soon as I left that facility, as soon as I left that stadium downtown, it made it back on my side of town. It was already a press release, drafted and written up, okay? And Arthur Blank was not playing. He had this in the vault. He knew he was going to get rid of these people because we did not have a great season when we have great players. And it's unfortunate because we did. Okay, let me just explain the Falcons to y'all, because it is weird. And I'm a fan, and sometimes I just really don't even get it myself. But the Falcons went against teams that were trash, i.e. the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, and they lost. they lost to those type of teams. But then they'll turn around and go play teams like the Buffalo Bills and um, the Los Angeles Rams, and they would win those games. And it would be so weird to me because it's like, you guys can lose against mediocre teams, but when it comes to powerful teams and teams who have, a strong offense and defense, um, you guys beat them. It's so weird. It's so weird. I don't get it. Maybe you guys can tell me and school me on something. I don't know why it is like that or what's the reason. It's just so weird. But yes, I seen a kind of a mixed feeling on social media about Raheem Morris getting fired. Um, like maybe 50%. Some people were glad that he was some people were glad that he was getting up out of here. And some people were saying that he needed another chance. Like he should have gotten a second shot, being that we did win majority of our last games. So I want to hear you guys. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys feel about Raheem Morris getting fired? I know a lot of people that I follow who are Falcons fan and who also live in Atlanta. You guys do not like Raheem Morris, but nonetheless, he's out of here. The GM, he's out of here. Arthur Blank did make a statement. He basically said that, during Raheem Morris' tenure, as a head coach, he has a 37-48 record with no playoff appearances. Yeah, if you ain't going to no playoff, and I know what type of squad we have, and I know the we're capable of going and we're just not going, yeah, I gotta let you go. And I gotta figure out what I need to do to get my team there. And I feel like that's what Arthur Blank did. He did say he appreciate their hard work and their dedication to the Falcons, but he does believe that we need new leadership in these roles. And that's just period on that. Okay? That's just period. Moving on. Some other teams that dismissed their head coaches is the Cardinals. Jonathan Gannon, he was fired. They had a 3-14 record. Out of here. The Browns, Kevin Stefanski, they had a 5-12 record. Out of here. Before I move on to the others, let's talk about Kevin Stefanski. Now, if you guys do not know, he is the head coach of the Browns, and he also was making headlines by because of the way he treated our cousin, brother, nephew, Shador Sanders, which is Deion Sanders' son. So a lot of fans, Brown fans, are excited to see him exit, but now other teams are scared um on if he's going to get picked up as their new head coach, i.e. the Falcons. Okay, there have been rumors that the Falcons may be interviewing Kevin Stefanski for head coach. I am one of those people. I'm scared because I seen how that man treated Shador, and I did not like it. I did not like it one bit. The way he just never acknowledged him, the way he overlooked him, the way he talked about him in press conferences, it was just not um the way a coach should treat a player in just in my opinion. Especially when that player has done nothing, brought shame on the team. He shows up to practice. He's learning the playbooks. He's a great rookie quarterback. So it was just kind of appalling to see how he was treating him. And I just don't want that type of energy over here with the Falcons. I don't like it at all, not one bit. So I am part of the people that is a bit scared on him possibly coming to the Atlanta Falcons. Hopefully Arthur Blank has his ear to those Atlanta streets and he know that that's just not a route that he should take. Okay? So I can see him getting picked up by a team as well. I don't see him being unemployed for too long, but let's just pray he does not come to the Falcons. Raiders, they let Pete Carroll go. They had a 3-14 record out of there. They did secure the number one pick. So for the 2026 draft, the first pick will go to the Raiders. Okay, so those are all the coaches that have been relieved of their duties of being a head coach. Okay. All right. So my next topic is Myles Garrett. He plays for the Cleveland Browns. He was getting some hate this past weekend um over his achievement for having the most sacks in a single season in NFL history. He ended the season with 23 sacks, and the record to beat was 22 and a half, which was being held by Michael Strahan. And that's what we're about to get into. You would think that this would be a time to celebrate this man, which is Myles Garrett, and uplift him and, congratulate him. But Miles Strahan decided that he was going to get on TV and say that he doesn't know if the record breaking is legitimate because he broke the record in 16 games and Myles Garrett had to do it in 17. Now, when it comes to people hating on people, it kind of irks me. I don't like that. I don't like it at all because what was the reason that you said that? First of all, you're not playing anymore. You're not in the league. It's not like you out here breaking records. You did hold the record and it's just been broken. Did you think you were going to hold that record in forever? No, somebody was eventually going to break it. And instead of congratulating him and uplifting him, you kind of just showed how self-centered you were. And people really called him out about that. And that's why I say when you speak out and you throw stones and you look like a hater or you be a hater, it's gonna come back. People gonna find some stuff on you and they gonna talk about you. And that's exactly um what the fans did. So basically, Michael Strahan, the comments were basically saying that you would have never held the record if Brett Favre would have never laid down and let you get a sack for you to break the record. How about that? Hmm. So you were given a given to even break the record. And here you are trying to ask others about the legitimacy of Myles Garrett breaking your record with 23 sacks in 17 games. Don't do it. They was really taking you out. They were really taking you out. And one person said that Garrett actually did it in 437 snaps. You did it in 567 snaps. So one extra game is not going to matter, sir. I think Myles Garrett milestone was warranted. Congratulations to him. His family was there cheering him on. It was, a great achievement for him. So shout out to him. I definitely think he is a future Hall of Famer. And yeah, somebody else who kind of hated on him too is Jamar Chase. And, I wasn't doing my podcast when his incident happened with Jalen Ramsey, when he decided that he wanted to spit on him and then lie and say he didn't. But yeah, I kind of lost all respect for Jamar Chase, but he kind of made a statement to the press after the game, basically saying he didn't know why the officials stopped the game for them to allow Myles Garrett and his team to celebrate their achievement. Why does it matter? Go rest. Go over some plays about how y'all finna get out here and win the game that y'all actually end up losing. Why are you complaining about them taking a couple of minutes for this man to celebrate a milestone, an achievement? Why does that bother you so bad? You're starting to bother me, literally, and I'm so fed up with you because the stuff that you've been pulling lately is giving BAN. I don't want to say it what that stands for because my parents may be watching this podcast, but yes, you are definitely giving BAN energy, and we would just all like it if you would just play football and kind of hush up in these press conferences that you're doing after the game. Either you're lying or you're just being a hater, and I'm about sick of it. Okay, moving on. All right, so that is it for the NFL segment. I am going to go ahead and move on to college football. So, in college football, as you know, we are in the semifinals of the NCAA championship. Okay. The teams that are left are Miami, Ole Miss, Oregon, and Indiana. Miami is going to go up against Ole Miss. Oregon is going to go up against Indiana. Now, I'm kind of sad because my UGA Bulldogs, they're not in it. They lost last week to Ole Miss. So I don't know. I am going to get my prediction of these games, but I really don't know. This when I say I don't know, it doesn't mean I just really don't know. It just means that these teams are both on the same caliber to me that it will be hard to make a decision on who to choose because it can go either way. It really can go either way. Miami versus Ole Miss, that can go either way. That can go either way. Oregon versus Indiana, that can still go either way too, but I am going to go ahead and go with Indiana over Oregon. They're undefeated this year, balling, 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 okay? They're balling. Circling back to Miami versus Ole Miss, I am probably going to just go with Ole Miss. I mean, you guys knocked my team off, so I mean, might as well just go for your team. And then, our old quarterback, Carson Beck, he went over to Miami. So I don't know if I really want to cheer for you. Now, I will say these are going to be great games. These are going to be great games, and I will be front and center watching both of these games. They actually come on this week, the week that I am um, recording this, Thursday and Friday. So I will report back in my next podcast about the winners and who will be heading to the championship. But those are going to be great games. And whoever wins out of those two games, it will definitely still be a great championship game as well. So I definitely look forward to these semifinal games. Okay, moving on to NBA news. So this week news is about the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young. The Atlanta Hawks are looking to trade Trae Young, okay? Which is crazy because Trae Young has been here since he has been in the league. But I'm not opposed to this. I'm not opposed to this trade because I think he has had a great run here in Atlanta, but it is time to see what else we can do to turn our organization around. We're very stagnant, I think. And I think that we need fresh new faces, and we have tried to uh, build around him and it just doesn't work out. A lot of people say that Trey is a ball hog. I've actually seen it myself because I do go to a couple of the games. And I just think he has this superstar personality that he just always has to be the center of attention. You're the face of the Hawks. Rappers love you. Everyone in the city loves you. You're being loved by all of the celebrities, okay? And all the celebrities, they're coming out to the games, they're watching you play. You want to do your big one. You want to always have the ball. You always want to touch the ball. You always want to make the shots. But essentially, sometimes it doesn't make sense for you to do that every time. But he does have great factors about him. He does come in clutch at times. It's just that I think it's time to just move on. So the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young's agents are looking for his next destination. There have been rumors that the Washington Wizards are a strong contender. I've also heard rumors that he maybe go to the Toronto Raptors. It's kind of weird because I just don't see him. He's been here so long. I don't know where I can see him going, but I'm not going to make any speculations or feed into the rumors about those two teams. I'm just going to wait until they announce. They do have until the trade deadline, which is February 5th, to make a decision. But I do honestly think that this is going to be it for Trae Young in the Atlanta Hawks. So I do appreciate the time that he had here. Like I said, he had a great run. Always respect to him. But yeah, I think we owe it to ourselves to get some fresh new faces in here to see what we can turn this organization around and get to the playoffs. I am moving on to Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has been balling, and Jaylen Brown thinks he's been balling as well. He had no shame in his game when he did not win the Player of the Month award in December, as he was a nominee, but he did not win it. Okay. He was up against Shea, SGA, and Jalen Brunson. So he did make a statement basically saying no diss to Shea or Brunson, but neither one of them had a better month than I had. And essentially he's right. Essentially he is right. It was awarded to SGA and Jalen Brunson. So I did do a December comparison between all three. And I'm just gonna go ahead and throw these stats out. So Jaylen Brown, he was averaging 31.7 points per game. Compared to Shea and Jalen, he was averaging the most points. Shea was only averaging 31.4 and Jalen was only averaging 30.6. So he is winning for points per game. Same for rebounds. He had 6.5, Shea had 4.8, Jalen Brunson had 3.3. I don't know. But when it comes to assists, he was in last place. He was only averaging 5.4 assists per game. Shea was averaging 6.1 assists per game, and Jalen Brunson was averaging 7.1 assists per game. So Jaylen Brown did lead the NBA in scoring for December over SGA and Brunson. So maybe that's why he said that neither one of them had a better month than him. I can't tell you why he did not win that award. Brunson won Eastern Conference Player of the Month, and SGA won Western Conference Player of the Month. Brown, he did not win anything. And I think that bothered him, as it should, because we just compared the stats and he was leading points per game and rebounds per game. So I don't know what you guys think. Was it a snub or was it correct? And Shea and Brunson should have won Player of the Month. Let me know. And then knowing Jalen, I don't know if you guys watched the Netflix show Starting Five. If you haven't, you should. I absolutely love that show. In doing so, in watching that show, I learned a lot about Jalen. He has a very high IQ. He's very smart, and he knows basketball as well as things outside of basketball. And he knows how to speak up for himself. I got that from him. watching that series. And so him not winning that award, I know it's eating him up. And it's like, oh, I got something to prove because now y'all try to play with me. So we'll see how this all plays out, and we'll see what he does for the month of January. Now I am moving on to my next segment, which is called Girl Code Playbook. This segment is revolved around all things girls, all things women, okay? In this segment, we'll discuss WAGs, we'll discuss women in sports, um, all of the things that I know my girls would enjoy and would love to hear that's related to sports. So, this week's topic is Miss Jordyn Woods. She recently just got engaged to her long time NBA boyfriend, Karl Anthony Towns, aka Cat. He plays for the New York Knicks. They got engaged on Christmas Day. And it was just so beautiful to witness. I'm saying witness like I was there. It was just so beautiful to see her posting her pictures, just confirming that, she had got engaged. And I think I can speak for a lot of women where when I say that I am extremely happy for her. She's very deserving of this. She was caught up in some drama a few years back with her best friend's family, Kylie Jenner and the Kardashians. And it was just nice to see her flourishing, happy with all of that past her. And I am just so excited for her. She looked just so beautiful. She had a all white ensemble, a nice long white silk dress with a white fur coat. Carl, he proposed to her on a rooftop. I want to say they was in New York. Yes, they were on a rooftop in New York City, and he proposed to her, and she just looks so happy and so beautiful. And that's why I love their relationship so much. You can tell that it's genuine, it's authentic, and that he really loves her because he really showcases his love for her. So, and as vice versa, she loves him as well. So congratulations to you, Jordyn. You look so beautiful. I cannot wait to see her wedding content. Best wishes to Karl Anthony Towns and Jordyn Woods on their engagement. That is the Girl Code Playbook segment of this episode. So the next segment is called In the Zone. In the Zone is a segment where we discuss the hottest topics across sports, and I just break it down to you guys about what's going on, what's trending, and whatnot. So this week's In the Zone topic is the Diggs brothers, Stefon and Trayvon Diggs. They are brothers. Stefon plays for the New England Patriots, and Trayvon plays for or played for the Dallas Cowboys, but now he plays for the Green Bay Packers. So let me go ahead and just start with Trayvon Diggs, since I've just explained to you guys that he's no longer playing for the Dallas Cowboys. So he's in the news because of being released by the Dallas Cowboys. And it's so funny. I'm laughing and smiling because I had told my mom that I was going to be talking about the Diggs brothers and what's been going on with them. And she was just like, you better make sure you say allegedly. You better make sure you say allegedly. So during this segment, I will be using the word allegedly very heavily. Okay. Just call me Wendy Williams. Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. I will be using that word. Okay. But so back to Trayvon Diggs. He was released by the Dallas Cowboys, and the reason why has been said allegedly is because he requested um that he stay in DC after they played the Commanders. Mind you, all of this took place in December around the holidays, around Christmas. So the Dallas Cowboys, they had just played the Commanders in DC, and he's from DC. So he asked his coach if it was okay for him to stay back and not travel with the team back to Dallas so that he could spend time with his family. It was said allegedly that his coach told him no and that he needed to fly back with the team. So he then stated that if he did fly back with the team, he was just going to leave right back out and come back to DC to spend time with his family. And I don't think that the coach, was going for that. And nonetheless, somehow, allegedly, he did end back up in DC, but it wasn't with family. Allegedly, he was out with Shy Glizzy, who is a well-known rapper, and we know this because Shy Glizzy posted a picture of both him and Trayvon wearing matching outfits. Okay? So just imagine you are telling somebody one thing and then you have a friend, you probably didn't tell them what you told that other person, and they kind of out you out by posting evidence. Yeah, that's what happened. So Trayvon told the Dallas Cowboys that he was going to be going to DC to spend time with his family for Christmas, when in reality, he just wanted to get back to hang out with his rapper friend. And his rapper friend ended up posting the evidence showing that he was outside. So I think word got back to the Dallas Cowboys and they caught wind that he wasn't where he said he was going to be. And they had proof of it. So they end up releasing him. So they released him, and I think this was just a buildup. From what I'm hearing from the fans, because I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan, for what I'm hearing from the fans is that Trayvon has not been playing his best this season. It was expected, and that this situation was just the icing on the top. Like they were eventually going to get rid of him. But I think him kind of lying and saying that he was going to be somewhere allegedly and he wasn't was just like, okay, yeah, we're kind of going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to release you and we're going to part ways. And that's essentially what they did. Now, he was not unemployed for a long time. He was picked right back up by the Green Bay Packers. And I think that had something to do with his friend who played for the Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs were good friends when they both played for the Dallas Cowboys. And when Micah got traded to Packers, Trayvon, I think, kind of took that, pretty hard. Not emotionally like how a girl would do, but you're being, one of your closest friends is getting traded and you no longer are going to be able to hang out with him. So when he got traded to the Green Bay Packers, it wasn't like, oh, okay, I'm sad that the Cowboys released me. It's like, okay, I'm back over here with my homeboy. And that's what happened. And I'm pretty sure that Parsons probably put in a good word for him and told the Green Bay Packers organization to go and pick him up, in which they did. And he has already started practicing with them. So we should be seeing him in the first round of playoffs if he has learned the playbook. We don't know. But essentially, that's what he was in the news for. And, I do want to ask, like, should players' personal lives affect their player lives? Like, because he went out to the club or he was hanging out with his friends, was that a valid reason for the Cowboys to fire him or release him? Or could it just been a respect thing? Like, this is a crucial time for us. We're trying to make it to the playoffs. You need to be with the team, and you lied. And so that's why they released him. I don't know. You guys let me know. I think if you're an athlete and it is football season, your life needs to revolve around football outside of your immediate family, and that's it. I don't know if he has a significant other right now, but yeah, if you're not going back home to your significant other and your kids, then you should be at practice. You should be with the team, not trying to stay back to go party with a rapper. So I kind of see where the Dallas Cowboys kind of, you know, um, took that as disrespect and was just like, okay, we're going to go ahead and wash our hands with you. But then again, it's kind of like, it is, holiday season. But then I can't say that because you really wouldn't even with your family. So let's just move on. You really wouldn't even with your family. Now, if he really was with his family and he really wanted to stay back and be with his family who lived in DC because they were in DC, then by all means, this would be a different story. This would be a different topic. I would probably be defending him. But because you were not where you say you were allegedly, and you were caught with a rapper friend, yeah, I can't really defend you. You should have been with the team. This is a crucial time period. Everybody's trying to make the playoffs, and you are wanting to go hang out with rappers. And they always say football players want to be rappers and rappers want to be football players. It's so weird. It's so weird that they want to do that. But okay, moving on to the next brother, Stefon Diggs. Stefon Diggs has been heavily in the media, heavily in the headlines. If you guys do not know, he is currently dating rap superstar Cardi B. They just welcomed a newborn baby boy, I want to say in November. We have not seen the baby and we do not know the baby's name. We just know that the baby did make his grand entrance last year. So Stefon Diggs has been in the media a lot lately surrounding his fatherhood. There has been a number of women allegedly that has come out and said that he is the father of their children allegedly. And I say a number of girls, and there's a lot. There's a lot, including Cardi B. Like Cardi B just had a baby. On top of that, it has been rumored and said that he has also welcomed maybe 3 to 4 kids around the same time, which is crazy to me because what are you doing? What are you doing? Seriously, I'm really disgusted because it's no way that you are going around having sex with that many women and getting all of them pregnant and you're supposed to be dating one person. I don't know. I don't know him and Cardi B's situation. From what it looks like now, they are boyfriend and girlfriend. She did acknowledge him on a podcast last year that was her boyfriend. So it is just kind of weird to me that he has a number of women popping up claiming him to be the father of their children when he was supposedly in a relationship with Cardi B. But outside of the multiple children fiasco, he is in the news for allegedly strangling and choking his personal chef. So his personal chef has filed a lawsuit claiming that his hands on her, he strangled her, and she uploaded some text messages between them, and I'm just going to read them. I'm just going to read them out loud. So basically, he texts her and said he's down having a texting match. He basically said, "You got it." She texts back and said, "You will be paying me out for the season and the money you said you would give me for my business. You wasted my time being here because you got a effing circus going on. I am out of your life!" Exclamation point. He then replies back and says, "I won't be paying you S. The F I look like paying you and paying you another chef. Is you high, B word? Who the F gotta give you money for your business? I don't gotta do a MFing thing. And you can get whoever you want. You got my address. Tell them come take the money." So yeah, tell them you can come take the money. Show me that I'm a woman's private part that starts with a P. So yeah, Stefon. The text messages that she uploaded does not make you look innocent. And I know everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but um the way those text messages read kind of seems like you have an anger management problem. All she's asking is to be paid for her services. I don't know the background of the situation, but For someone to go to the extent of saying that she was strangled and choked, it has to be some underlying truth there, allegedly. 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 So I don't know what's going to be the outcome of that. I will say that, he is in a relationship with Miss Cardi B, and as everyone know, Cardi B does not play when it comes to taking things to court. She has won all of her court cases, so I would not be surprised if she has not helped him with his counsel to defend this suit. So we will see what the outcome will be, but Mr. Stefan Diggs is not looking um too innocent. And it's just unfortunate because again, he's been in the news and the media so much, and it's just overshadowing him as a player. He's known now for being in a relationship with Cardi B, having multiple women that's pregnant, and now this with the strangulation and choking situation with his personal chef. It's just so unfortunate that a player of his magnitude, who is a great player, is just being overshadowed by drama and mess, because that's exactly what it is. It's just mess. It's just drama. So hopefully he can step up in the playoffs, and we'll have more to talk about other than drama, and he helps his team advance to the second round of the playoffs, because again, they did make the first round. Okay. So that is it for that segment of In the Zone. And that is it of this first episode of my podcast. I am so proud of myself. This is something new for me. So again, if you see me just having a stare off moment or a pause moment, or a stumbling moment, just give me some grace. This is all new. It's just me here. I am working the camera, working the sound, working the notes, reporting. But I'm just grateful. My motto this year has been faith over fear, because this is something that I've always wanted to do for a long, long, long time. I've just always made excuses for myself as to why I could not do it. But God really put it on me at the ending of last year that this is something that I need to walk in. This is a purpose. This is my purpose. And before I give up on this dream, why not just take a chance at it? Why not just pursue it? Why not just go for it? And this is exactly what I'm doing. So I appreciate you all for showing up, watching. If you made it to the end of this podcast, thank you so much. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave comments. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you guys will want to see more of, what I can do differently. I am open to all of it. You were tuned in to Bro, I Know Sports. I'm your host and favorite teammate, Chelsea, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, teammates.